This is Mike Sullivan. I'm a former IRS agent and teaching instructor with IRS. Welcome to my YouTube channel. It's the home of the 5-minute or less video. I love to give you the information that you need to educate you, give you inside information, and to make you on some subjects to be aware. If you call other people, there can be spam alerts, especially on the offer and compromise and debt settlement program. These are big areas that you can get really ripped off. So I try to make you aware of those. I've worked about 10,000 cases. I have a whole team of former IRS agents that I work with that they're really, I don't want to say they're on my staff. I work with all of them, and I decide who I want to give cases to depending on their expertise. And I taught the offer and compromise program. I'm an expert. Matter of fact, our whole team are experts in all different IRS subjects. You have to have about 3 or 4 experts because every division in IRS, whether it's collection or audit, exam, or whatever, requires a different expertise. You can go ahead and check my videos out on TV. I've done a lot of videos for national news and foreign news, actually, at 777irs.com. So today I want to talk to you about the 3 IRS tax relief programs. Or as a former IRS agent, in a collection case comes out, you have to be able to close your case. Your case is going to be closed out by IRS one of 3 ways. You may as well write these down and know them. IRS is going to close your case out by a hardship or a currently non-collectible with the payment program or an offer and compromise. There's 2 other ways that I'm not going to talk about. One is the 10-year statute of limitations runs out. It's not a program, it just runs out after 10 years. You can call me if you have questions, or you can file a Chapter 7 bankruptcy to wipe out the debt if you go ahead and meet the different criteria. But there's 3 ways that IRS generally closes your case out. So what IRS does is they have to look at a financial statement, a verified financial statement, one they verified, one that's documented so they know that they can take care of the debt. So IRS is going to ask in the service center for a 433F. That's the 1-800 number. If it's in a local office, the IRS is going to want the 433A. That's used by the revenue officer, or the IRS, if you're filing an offer, is going to use the 433A OIC for offer and compromise. One way or another, you're going to use those forms to get rid of your case. Now, if you're just making a streamlined payment, you can just go online to IRS and make that payment over 5, 4, up to 7 years. You can go ahead and do that. But generally, if you have any sizable debt, IRS is going to want your financial statement. They're going to want it documented. And how much do they want it documented? Generally, they're going to want your bank statements. They're going to want your copies of your expenses. They're going to want any payments you make. You will find on the one of the financial statement pages a list of the expenses, and if you're writing an expense down, they're going to want to see documentation. So I want to tell you or teach you about each one. The currently non-collectible or hardship means that IRS has looked at your financial statement and they determined, according to them, by their standards, the Department of Labor has come along and said these are the standards that that people should be living on in the county that they're in. They will determine you to be uncollectible or hardship. If you want to find out what those standards are, you should go ahead and put in your toolbar IRS National Standards for A, housing and utilities, number 2 for food and clothing, for 3 for car operation, and for ownership of a car. IRS will dictate to you how much you're allowed to spend in those areas. It's critical you understand the IRS national standard in those 4 categories. If you're paying over those, IRS is not going to allow those, and you're going to be paying that excess money to IRS. Once again, what are they again? The IRS national standards for food and clothing, IRS national standards for housing and utilities, IRS national standards for car ownership cost, IRS national standards to drive your car around or operation. So if you are living within your means according to the IRS standards, IRS will probably put you in hardship or non-collectible. What does that mean? That means IRS takes your case, they put a freeze on it, they stick it into the computer system, and at some point down the road, 2, 3, 4 years, they may bring the case out to the field. So that's what they, in fact, will do with that case. Generally, if you file a tax return and you make a lot more money, the case will come back. Understand penalties and interest run, and IRS will continue to take your refund if you are in non-collectible status. How you get around that, you change your W-4 and IRS can't take your refund. The other thing is a payment agreement. IRS looks at your financial statement and they say, hey, this person should make a statement because they're looking at the IRS national standards for you and the financial statement and say you make over and above what they're comfortable in allowing you according to the standards, and you have a payment. And the third option is to file an offer and compromise. That's an area you have to be very, very careful of because there's a lot of scam artists in the offer and compromise program. Generally, if someone calls you or you're searching for a company, the first person that you're going to speak to is a salesman. They make 50% of what they can extract literally from your pocket. If you're going to consider an offer and compromise, you only want to speak to an attorney, an enrolled agent, a former IRS agent, or a CPA who can actually tell you whether you're qualified. Most of these other people that you're using are salespeople who don't know the ins and outs, and I wouldn't trust them for nothing. Very few people out there really are proficient in the offer and compromise. There's some really good companies, but most of the people in this business, they're very kind of seedy, or I wouldn't give any case to them to work. So just make sure if you want to qualify for an offer, you know who you're speaking to. They're a tax professional, they have a license, and they know what they're doing. Don't give anybody any money for an offer and compromise unless they can tell you why they qualify for the program, how many they've got through the IRS, and how many cases they work. Those should be the questions you ask. Don't look at their website and look for ratings and this and that, because people know how to adjust those and fool some of the algorithms. Speak to the person themselves, show them the financial statement, and they should be able to. I know at our firm, if you give me your financial statement, I'll let you know whether you qualify. You'll want to make sure these people are truly qualified before you give them a check. If you have any questions, just boom, go ahead and leave it in the comment section. I'll get back. If you want us to review your case or take your case on, we're happy to do that if you qualify. We don't take all cases unless I know you're qualified. I take them, and then that's it. Please give me a subscription if you would. I'd appreciate it. It lets YouTube know we're doing a good job. Believe it or not, that's why you subscribe to people. And anyway, if you need to get a hold of us, you'll find us in the description section. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.